We're here. Previews and picks, football previews and picks. Version number 3, episode number 3. We must be doing something right because we're adding to the star-studded cast
Oh boy.
this week. Yeah. So as usual, you have our official, unofficial handicapper, Mr. Miles Krieger. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. And then Larry Richwine, who was with us in Chapel Hill for the first time and did an excellent job. So happy to Larry's agreed to stay on board for a little bit longer, right?
Oh yeah.
Larry?
Yep.
But then the new addition. I have not met you in person yet, Dan, but I've heard your reputation precedes yourself. So and I believe you were the one that got the most picks right last week, and so Miles has some competition.
Well, yeah, that we kind of got lucky there last week, so that was kind of neat. But actually, it wasn't all me. My son had quite a bit to do with it. But
well, kudos. I heard that it was there were some upsets in there. I'm still learning, but I heard there were some upsets in there, so it wasn't everything didn't go off. Every class didn't go off exactly as planned. But yeah, real quick. So Larry and Miles. I want to focus on this upcoming week. It's what Chase has coined the busiest pulling week of the year. But before we do that, any final thoughts from Chapel Hill? I know we missed session 1, but in my opinion, Saturday was a beautiful day with some great pulling.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It really was. Yeah.
So
Go ahead, Miles.
just for your reference sake, on general discussion I had with guys in orange, one of the largest attendances on record. I think they're still probably tallying and working on that. They sold more food Saturday night this year and more concessions Saturday night this year than they did both nights last year combined. So it was a pretty awesome deal there at Chapel Hill. I mean, you think about all of the days that we had lost with the rain and kind of that good for those guys, good for the Lions Club, good for all the people that came to watch the show and then continue to support the community, raise some money for some young men or women who have lost their parents in the service. And they had an awesome fundraiser giving away pedal tractors for that. And obviously awesome competition on the track, which made for excitement for the crowd and the audience. So each one of those sessions was pretty awesome. Colin Ross won in the Superstock Diesel class, but just by the slightest of margins. Kent Payne almost got there, and that was a pretty close battle and probably the highlight for my picks for the week, as I had both 1 and 2 correct in the Superstock Diesel class. So, from there, mini class was awesome and very competitive with Grayson Shelton making a huge pass there at the end to take over the number 1 spot. And he's a 2-time winner there now. And then on the pro stock side, no real doubt that it might be a Masterson who was going to win. The Masterson tractor, obviously. I picked the wrong one. I had River Rat. River Rat was early. I should have paid attention to the fact that Tinker Toy was late, and Tinker Toy won. Daryl was impressive with Kevin's mastery, coaching him through. Unlimited side, obviously, and the four-wheel drive side, we have changed up the order there the last couple of years. So the four-wheel drive side, Zaring got his first ever Grand National win, which was pretty neat. And then on the unlimited side, it was very competitive.
I lost Miles.
oh,
There he is.
Oh.
I'd have to agree with Miles. It was a heck of a good show and the competition, and it proved the consistency of the track. Like in a mini class where almost the last hook, or was he actually the last hook, goes out there and wins it.
One behind him. Yep.
That's what I thought. Yeah, it's that track is so consistent, and those guys work so hard. So I think they were blessed with a second day of great weather, and it proved that it's definitely a good place to pull.
Joe Ader was late in unlimited class, and he won, which pretty awesome pass for him for sure. And then, the four-wheel drive side, Ike was a little bit earlier, but Carmen was late, and she got second. So very easily could have been anybody's night, really.
Yeah, it was consistent with the track all night. So, and that's what it takes to put on a good show. That way, it's not a draw track or wait for the sun to go down or whatever. It was definitely a good competition.
Any Miles, I don't know if you've had a chance. Again, we're one day back, but any shakeups in the NTPA standings that you think are a little interesting coming out of there?
Yeah, I mean there are a few. I mean, Colin actually added to his points list just a little bit, but David Richardson's leading right now in the unlimited, leaving Chapel Hill. He still has just a slight edge there, and on the pro stock side, no real big change by any means whatsoever there in terms of who you might think would be there. On the 4-wheel drive side, Jake Zaring's still leading. Carmen clipped up a couple points on him.
Yep.
And on the mini division, Renee has a couple point cushion. She and Adam Bauer went in tied, and you wouldn't think that she would finish 8th or 9th. I think she was 9th or 10th. You wouldn't think that she would really finish in that kind of spot and still leave with a points lead, but she did. I think she's got a couple point cushion on Adam. So, that I guess the side of that is there's been a lot of competition. Sheltons aren't point seekers, so they wouldn't get any points for their win. And Camille was top 5 as well, so she doesn't get any points. So in all truth, as you factor in how things work there and taking people that don't get points out, ultimately Brian McDonald would have been your highest Grand National points tractor, I think, in 3rd there. I don't think Bunnages are collecting points either.
I don't think so. No.
So 3 of the top 5 weren't. They were promoter choice invites, which good on the guys in orange. That's pretty neat for them to do that and bring an invite and get the put them in the top 3, top 5. So
That's how it finished off. Yep. Cool. Okay, well let's move along then, because we have a busy week. So lots of pulls going around everywhere. For the full pull team, we're going to be we've got several events. We're going to be busy Wednesday through the end of the night Saturday. So first up, gentlemen, I want to talk a bit about the PPL pool. That's going to happen. Sorry, it's not Wednesday, tomorrow. So it's going to happen tomorrow. In Freeport, Illinois. We're running unlimited super stocks, lightweight super stock, super farm, 4.1 limited pro stock, and pro stock diesel. So I guess let's start with anybody been out to this Stevenson County pool before?
I have never been there.
I haven't either. No.
Yeah, I have not either. I have watched and tuned in numerous times and have I've actually driven past the facility, but I've never been there for the pool itself. And it's pretty unique. In the past, I know they've had phenomenal numbers, both in the sense of Champions Tour competition, but it's usually been kind of a dual day with Badger State Hook as well. So they would bring in some Badger State classes and have a really big competition there. I don't know if that's the same kind of scenario, Dan, because they had gone to a 2-day format, and I don't know now.
Yeah, I think they do Tuesdays the PPL stuff, and then on Wednesday they do the Badger State show. I believe that's what they still do. Last I looked.
But yeah, like they, obviously Jeff Hurt, he's one of them we'll talk a little bit about. He wounded his tractor a few weeks ago and has been working really diligently to get it back together and ready to go in the Superstock Open class. Light Superstock, Bobby Jones has had just an absolute tear that he's been on this season and has been very, very tough. He did not win at Henry with Elmer Haug and Brian Haug doing really well there. Brian won the hook there. And then obviously the Superstock Open class has been kind of a mixed bag with a whole lot of people potentially winning. So.
Yeah, and you take a look at like last year at that poll, I believe Scott Whitworth won the Open Superstock class there, where he won't be there this year. And then you look at the light class, and I believe Terry Blackburn won the light class last year. So this year going to be wide open, as far as, who's going to take the wins there. Because it's, like I say, wide open. Like you say, Bobby Jones has been out of terror. The Haug family, I would imagine they would be up there. But there's I would say your top 3 looking as far as the light class goes. And then the heavy class, I would say probably, Jeff Odom. You mentioned Jeff Hurd getting the tractor back together. I would say that'd probably be your top, right there. Jeff's been running really good here so far, and 2023. So I'd look for him to have a good couple days here.
Great. Yeah. As I mentioned, I think I pulled it up on the screen, but again, that's July 25th and 26th. Here, let me share this up again for everybody interested. July 25th and 26th, 6 p.m. start times both days. Again, like I said, the Champions Tour, and then they're going to do the Badger State stuff on Wednesday. We will have a fun game, just like usual for those either wanting to play there or play at home. So same sort of deal. I think we're going to mix it up a bit, doing a sort of an exacta for each class. So picking first and second for each one of the 5 classes going off. And just like usual, you can take home some cash. So that is Freeport, Illinois. Any other comments about that event?
I believe they have 2 Silver Series classes too. The 4-1s, I think, are there, and the Pro Stock Diesel trucks, I think, are the other 2 classes. And those are pretty much limited pros. That's wide open as far as that goes. I mean, there'll be 15 to 25 tractors there, and any one of them's got a shot. So that's more or less a crapshoot there for that class. And Pro Stock Diesel trucks, I would say probably 8 to 10. Usually they get of those, and that's another class where some of the Wisconsin guys are pretty tough, and so we'll see what happens there.
Cool. Yeah. So Dan, where will we be at after that? July 26th and 27th.
Goshen, Indiana, the Elkhart County Fair. I think it's still the 2nd largest county fair in America. Where I actually come from, up in Western New York, the Erie County Fair used to be the largest county fair in America, and I believe that kind of fell down a little bit. But yeah, Goshen's a great event. They run all kinds of classes up there. They're going to have 3 sessions this year, and should be an outstanding show.
What are you looking forward to? I mean, I know, between these sessions and anything specific about this. I did hear about the size of the fair. Anything specific about this pool that excites you?
Well, some of the highlights you look at, the Pro Stocks are going to run both Wednesday and Thursday night. The super modified tractors will run their 2nd hook of the season. They'll run on Thursday night. The 2-wheel drives, I believe, just have the 1 hook this year. I'm trying to think what else. The minis will be, usually they run the minis in the afternoon on a Thursday. So those are really the highlight classes to look at. I know a lot of people, the Pro Stocks are always popular, but like I said, they've got 2 hooks this year. Last year they tried their 3rd session on Wednesday. Well, their Wednesday night session got rained out last year. That was the first time they tried 3 sessions, and it rained out last year. So really didn't get much to go off of last year, but like I say, usually they got great numbers, and the crowd's always great, so it should be a spectacular show.
Unique to this venue is they have 2 tracks. One of those tracks is the Champions Tour event, and on the other side, they will typically have like some farm stock pulling and a whole bunch of stuff, and then they also have usually another track even a lot of times. So Dan, you can obviously allude to that a little bit further, but I know the years that I was there, by about 8 a.m., the bleachers were completely full, and we were pulling like hot farm and 3 mile an hour or 5 mile an hour tractor classes.
Yeah, that was where the first place that actually got introduced to Indiana hot farm tractors. I could not believe when I saw a hot farm tractor from Indiana, and they said, "Yeah, this is how they run them out here," and I was very surprised because they were nothing like that back up in New York, that's for sure.
It's very popular in Indiana and Western Ohio, Southern Michigan. Yeah, the hot farm is like the Hoosier State bunch, and I think doesn't IPL run like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning at Goshen? Indiana
IPL be that morning. Yes.
Yeah, there's a couple different organizations going on. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll run all day pulling. I mean, you get there like Miles said, 8 o'clock in the morning, the stands are full. That's usually when they're just about ready to start. but they will run the entire day of pulling. And the track can take it because it's pretty sandy. Anyway, I'll shut up here.
Well, it's a part of a horse track.
Years ago, used to hang it all on the. Used to be years ago, I'd hang it all on the back and hope your nose wasn't nailed to the ground. You know, I pulled there back when I had hair, and yeah, it's always been unique, but it is a great event.
About Larry, any idea about how many years ago they actually started pulling there?
Oh my! I started pulling in 1974, and I went up there then. So it's been many, 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 many years. But yeah, they've actually gone through a couple different event manager type on behalf of the Elkhart County Fair. But yeah, they've pulled for as long as I can remember, put it that way. But they've always had either a state level or they have had NTPA. Now they're PPL. I mean, but they've always had a sanctioned pull with somebody, even if it was a state level sanctioning body. But they've it's just part of the fair, and it's a big part of the fair. They got a nice, great big covered lunar grandstand. Part of it's covered, and I don't know. They can probably seat what, at least 8,000 or 10,000 people, can't they, Miles?
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
Their former guy who was the head of the board there he was a Lifetime Achievement Award winner for PPL several years ago. Corp Wagner, I think. And then I think Fred Jessup's now taken over. Maybe, is that right, Dan?
Yeah, Cork's still around. He still comes around and makes sure everything's going good. But yeah, Fred pretty much runs the show now, and Corky just comes around and just makes sure that everybody knows he's there, and he's a really good guy. I like him.
Yeah, Corky is a good guy.
So yeah, 2 big days there, no doubt. And then it's that doesn't stop. It doesn't stop there on Thursday by any means. That's we're just leading into the weekend.
Yeah. So what's next on deck, Miles?
Well, Fort Recovery from the NTPA side for sure, and that's always been a very, very well represented and attended event. And then Dan, you'll have to help me. Are we sweeping to Vanderburgh County and then to Altamont, or just to Vanderburgh County, or am I off?
No, you're correct. PPL will go to Evansville on Friday night, and then Saturday they'll end up down in Altamont for their end of their sweep.
Okay, that's
so
what I figured.
Yeah,
that's what I figured. So that's
Go
ahead, Larry.
Right now, I guarantee you, Fort Recovery, there's people in the campgrounds that's been there 2 or 3 days. I mean, those guys, the fans are dedicated, and I don't know how many chromosomes are. I didn't say that anyway, but there's definitely guys on the hillside camping at Fort Recovery right now. But it's like you say, it's a very much celebrated event, and it's of course they still do the one early with PPL, don't they?
No.
Did they do? They didn't do that this year.
No, they've been Ohio State, I believe. They do an event.
Okay. Yeah. But this event's been NTPA once again for at least 25 or 30 years, and it's always well attended both by vehicles and they're going to an afternoon session on Saturday to run some regional stuff, and but it's all Grand National Friday night, and then regional stuff Saturday afternoon, and then Saturday night all Grand National again at Fort Recovery.
Yeah, I would have to say they're pretty much creeping up on their 50th anniversary here down in Fort Recovery. I think they started either 72 or 73 down there, so they got to be creeping up on that 50th there. Not sure exactly what they have planned, but
Dan, we got to get you used to the idea that they're no longer down from you.
That's true. They're up there now. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, everything's up there now. Yeah, I forget about that one. Yeah, that's.
You've got to go northeast a little ways for you now. So.
Yeah.
It's
so,
actually
full pull. Go ahead.
It's actually the closest NTPA event to me. It's 91 miles from Indianapolis, so it's I'm just west of Indianapolis, so it's close. I'm going to buzz over Friday night and do the live thing, and then I got to come back to do the state fair for the Hoosier State Bowl on Sunday. But I got to get ready on Saturday. And Miles, when are you moving in the Indiana State Fair with the sheep?
Next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Indiana State Fair went to a format that requires us to go up and back 3 or 4 different times, which is kind of not ideal.
No.
Yeah, up Tuesday, animals in Wednesday, show Thursday, Friday, Saturday, home, back up Tuesday, show Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, home, and then the weekend to Bowling Green, they'll go back in with the open show. So I think it's like 11 hotel room nights.
Wow.
Get some points, Miles.
My wife and little girl and my father-in-law and they'll be doing that. I'll be working as much as I can.
Well, if I've got all these talented minds together, we'll put out our picks ahead of time for Fort Recovery. That's going to be our big in-person event this weekend. Of course, we'll have Miles diesel burning picks posted ahead of time. That way, if you need some early advice, we'll definitely get those out there. Again, he hasn't missed a lot, so not a bad idea to follow his lead. But let's talk a bit. I mean, let's give a little bit of a nod to we don't have all the entries right now, but let's give a little bit of nod at some early predictions while we have Larry, Miles, and Dan with us. So we got 6 classes pulling on Friday. That's mini rods, 2-wheel drives, diesel super stocks, super stock open, unlimited, and diesel 4x4. So let's quickly just go across and give some thoughts of these. So let's start with mini rods. What are you looking forward to? Who do you think has a good chance at session number 1?
Miles, go for it.
Oh, okay. I'll go first.
Putting you on the spot, Miles. I will asterisk this. That Miles will then take this and then go dump all the data in the spreadsheets and come up with a more a competent pick later in the week. But for now, we're going to make sure that we'll just do some early picks. He won't lock it in yet.
I'll have to study a little bit. I will tell you that the years that I got to be on the microphone announcing there were some pretty monstrous passes. Brian McDonald had one several years ago, and I think Ken Veeney almost went 400 feet last year after a sled reset to win.
And not to cut you off, Miles, I just got word that Ken will be there. If you didn't know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's just a hop and a skip and a jump from over there in his home of Wadsworth area. So good for him, and love him and Rona very much. And obviously, when he comes, it's you're kind of nuts if you don't at least put a little bit of thought into the idea that he's going to win. So, and if he shows up, he expects that he's going to win. So I think he's one who can very, very, very easily do that. History repeats itself. Brian McDonald's one I would definitely circle, and he's fresh off of a top 3 in Chapel Hill as well. And I don't know. It's difficult to be able to circle who all might be there, but from the points tractors, Adam Bauer and Renee have really kind of set the stage this year.
I'd have to agree, but Ken Veeney's going to be hard to beat at Fort Recovery because, and part of the deal is he's got the dragster, maintenance program where they tear it down after every run and go through it. So he's always on kill plus a little bit. So, but he just runs good at Fort Recovery.
Yeah, he is the defending champion over there. So he swept last year. So I would look for him to be right there amongst, like Miles had mentioned, Renee's going to be right there, Adam Bauer. As far as like a dark horse pick, you would have to probably, dark horse for Fort Recovery. I would say, that'd be a tough one to come up with. You never know, like
does Chase qualify as a dark horse, especially with the way he's running this season?
I was going to mention Chase, but I don't want to jinx anybody. That's the
it's
don't want to put the jinx on them.
It's contingent upon a couple of things. Do folks that ran the PPL hook, are they still running? The Slalls have traditionally been guys who will come from Goshen over, and both of those guys are potential winners. Kim Kwame has shown up kind of without running points races and been phenomenal as well, driving the Zimmer's entry, well-oiled machine. So she's one you could definitely count on, kind of being in the mix as well. So I don't know what they're doing exactly this year. I don't think we've seen them much, but that's certainly a tractor that warrants some thought process. And super stock diesel trucks. Nick Gillette won his first ever Grand National hook at Toma. The Angry Farmer trucks are there, and the Angry Farmer folks will have a big presence. Obviously, I think they're the title sponsor, presenting sponsor of the event. And Mr. Dugan, again, graciously sharing some of his hard-earned money to give back to the sport. Justin Gerhardt has been running great, and obviously is one I would circle as well. We have not seen Shane Kellogg out yet this season. If by chance you do, he's from Kenton, Ohio, and he's one who is unreal when it gets hooked up and going as well with Trump. So there's some guesses, and I'll have to fire a text at him and see if by chance he'll be there. But I know Mr. Dugan did really well. Well, there it is. It's on the screen. I'll say he did really, really well there last year. So
He did.
Yeah, he was another one of the guys that swept.
Yeah.
So he'll be tough to beat. Eric Stacy, the Shy Diesel truck. There's Kent Crowder always runs really well over there as well. So I mean, there's Cody Hastings. He's another one that hasn't run a whole lot this year, but he'll be right there in the mix as well. Always one to watch with him. He's always tough.
Cool. What about let's see.
we're going to ask you to make your pick when you say the proper class. So just pick the proper class, OJ.
Yeah.
I'm going Josh Blackburn until
Okay, there we go.
until I have time to say more. I got a note that Bruce and Tyler Slaw will be there too. Does that change anything up?
Yeah,
Well, they're definitely very competitive. I mean,
Yep.
it's yeah.
put them in the hunt for sure.
Who else you want to talk? You want to talk unlimited for a minute?
Sure, why not? I don't know about Miles, but I really think that it's Joe Etter. He didn't do as well as he wanted to at Toma, but he made up for it at Chapel Hill. And between him and Adam Bauer, I don't know. Purser's doing very good compared to what Purser normally does. I mean, he's being consistent this year, so any one of those three could do it. It's not to discount the fact that Dave got second the other night, Richardson, but it's just as far as consistency goes, from my point of view, those three are going to be in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, and I think Brad Benedict is really figuring things out with the screw charger setup, and so that's just a matter of him getting things all aligned there and the horsepower coming in. You think about Purser and Richardson and Eder all being kind of the way they were up there, and so there'll be. I'm guessing you'll have as many as 12 to 14 again. It wouldn't surprise me if you don't pick up a few that want to come run. That's obviously I don't know what the regional circuit holds for the turbines and some of that, but you've got some folks over there who potentially could roll in to run.
Yeah, and like you say, Joe Eder's hitting his stride there with the tractor. So he's got his all the kinks worked out, looks like, and you can't forget Criswell, Benedict. They're always tough whenever they show up. One to beat right there. But I think Wayne Purser's he's gonna be the guy to watch here this weekend. I think he's on just knocking on that door, and I think it's gonna bust open here this weekend.
Right. Miles, now you didn't mention the Bionic Buzzard. He'll be there.
There you
Smizing tractor. I mean,
Smizings are they they can be there.
That fuel rod that they open up at the top motor right before they leave, that's the same fuel rod was on that in 1968, I think. Yeah.
I don't know that it'll beat Joe Eder, but
I didn't say it would, but they will be there. I can assure you.
Fair enough.
And so any other ones you want to hit on? We had many. 2-wheel drive. I hate to open up that can of worms, but
2-wheel drive is very competitive. It's just a matter of how they hit the track, what the draw number is, and how they come out of the hole. It's between that and the pro stock class. Those two classes of NTPA are the most competitive. That you really don't have a dominant person, I don't think, unless you boys do. I don't think there's really one dominant in those two divisions.
Well, I think the interesting thing about the 2-wheel drive class at Fort Recovery this year is they haven't pulled there in I think it's been 7 years or something like that. So I mean they're coming back. So you got Tim Beatty on top, and there's a guy that's I believe he's pulled there a few years back.
Probably.
That's got a little bit of experience, but other than that, I mean, look for Jesse Petro.
Petro.
Yep.
That's my guess.
Yep.
And throw Frazier in there.
Yep.
Jesse will definitely be one to reckon with.
And
Yeah.
Russ Nichols, if he's got 2 trucks potentially now, if they are able to get Kelly's down there as well. I don't know if they have the ability to haul 2.
Yeah, last I knew they had to work on their hauling program there. They only had the 1 trailer, so yeah, they were working on that.
I bet they'd go a day early and go back and get the other one though if they had to get her down the track too. I'd say.
She just got a win the other night, so good on her.
Yeah, I know.
Well, so yeah, good news is so that's our in-person event. Again, these gentlemen will be live streaming with us at 5:30 on Friday. I think I have that right. 5:30 on Friday. We'll be going live. We'll be posting. They'll have some chances to do their research. Miles in a spreadsheet. Larry, I don't know what if you have a tactic you like to use.
Yeah, I just throw a dart at the dartboard. I actually pay more attention to how they've been running and what kind of shape their machine's in, because it's an endurance race. It's not a speed race. It's an endurance race. Who can live the longest for points? But Miles, you won't be at Fort, will you? You'll be at the fair, won't you?
I will not be at Fort. I'm going to. I'm either going to be home here at my house waiting for some sheep to come our way, or I'll be at a sheep show. It just depends on what Mother Nature decides to do, I guess I should tell you.
But he promised his picks, his weekly picks will be locked in.
You'll get my weekly picks.
And again, Dan, you'll be joining us, right?
Yes, I'll be coming back from Goshen. I'll head over to Fort Recovery for that. And yeah.
Great. So again, that's 5:30. That's when that starts. We'll get Miles picks out there. Again, the week is going to be great for Full Pull. So go to fullpull.us. We're going to have games for, again, Freeport. We'll have them for Goshen, and then we'll have them for Fort Recovery. The good news is we're going to be able to open up Fort Recovery, we think, as early as tomorrow or Wednesday. So like Chapel Hill, we're going to be able to get some not lineups, entries in there. And then eventually we'll get to the lineups. So if you want to play early, you can play early. Again, you can edit your picks throughout the week. We're going to have a $2,500 grand prize like we did in Chapel Hill. Very similar format. We're also bringing back our second most popular game, which is the diesel burning prop picks. So we're going to mix it up a little bit more. So if you don't want to pick first, and you're still going to be able to pick last, but we're going to throw some other fun games in there that may or may not have a lot to do with the sport. So that'll be fun. That will be open as well. Again, starting tomorrow, Wednesday, as soon as we can get that pushing. But again, you'll be able to start playing Freeport, hopefully as early as tonight. You'll be able to start playing Goshen tomorrow night. And then we'll just keep games flowing throughout. So there should be plenty of opportunities to play, plenty of opportunities to win. I didn't hit on this, but I think we had almost 800 active players for the grand prize session challenge in Chapel Hill, which is great. Some of that may be because they were antsy when session 1 got rained out. So we just floated on into session 2, but that's outstanding. We love to see that motivates us to keep getting together, supplying these games, getting more people involved, and finding more opportunities to play along. Because again, this is all about fan engagement for us. So again, 5:30 Fridays, the next time you'll see us live together. In the meantime, we'll be posting some content for Miles. We'll be posting those picks out, and then we'll scoot right through this busiest week of pooling with plenty of opportunity to win.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Any closing remarks, gentlemen?
We hope somebody that's watching this will go and attend some of these events because they're fantastic places to go pulling.
Absolutely. Go support them.
Yep.
Yeah, weather's supposed to be good this week. So like you say,
Nice and
Miles
hot.
said, head out and grab a cool one and enjoy the pulls.
All right. Thanks. We'll see everybody again soon. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes.
Run,